I think the worlds of procurement, the different domains are often when they're combined, we have this concept of supplier risk-aware procurement, right? So whether I'm purchasing or sourcing or, even approving an invoice, I need to be aware of the risks of that supplier. So I think some of the early use cases around intake are really important because, as you know, the relationship with your supplier is not linear, right? At different points, you have different things that may happen. You have a payment block, you have a risk, you have an issue, an audit issue that you have to go rectify, a performance issue. So I think intake can really help because we know that not everything is a registration, not everything is a qualification form or a modular questionnaire. Sometimes we need help, and the user doesn't always know where to start.
Thank you so much for joining another edition of The Never Ending Climb for a stronger supply chain and procurement for companies running SAP. Today, we've got Justin Morse. Justin leads the Center of Excellence for North America. He is basically the SWAT team for procurement and supply chain and bringing the best from industry best practices and helping your team level up. Justin, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Looking forward to it, Sean.
Amazing. So we were getting a lot of questions, and I know you do too, of this. There's this BTP thing, and it's something that's important, but why is it important for complementing Ariba and spend management?
Yeah, I think at SAP, we've been around for so long that companies have just got used to customizing their applications. So as we think about the movement to cloud, we've had to adjust, customers to think about adopting industry standard practice, best practice, and they still want to customize what's unique to them. So it's finding that delicate balance between customization and extending, right? That's the concept of clean core. And what I've seen, companies be really successful with doing, whether it's a partner development where our customers can adopt it from the App Store or where they can build it themselves, is a couple of different areas. One, data. SAP is not, in the business of, producing data or, really doing investigation on data. So if we have a data provider, that's a natural fit to bring into the solution to help give insights, nudge the user, give them some information. The second use case is around analytics. We know that prepackaged analytics are really powerful. And especially if it's an industry problem, if it's a supply chain issue, customers or partners can develop these prepackaged analytic solutions that are, really useful to stand up. The third one is around integration. And we know customers are going to connect to SAP systems, non-SAP systems, homegrown systems, et cetera. So customers or partners can really help build that connective tissue. And then the other one we're seeing a push is around workflow and around orchestration. So really that connective tissue kind of bleeds the line of integration. But what I love about what you guys are doing is you're really creating an app that does all three, right? It is really about all of them together. And I'm really excited because it's really all of the use cases combined into one to really help the user solve the problems, connect to different systems, and really have a suite, an orchestrated suite solution.
That's amazing. Justin, thank you. That ties back to this concept of clean core. And when you have a public cloud solution, of course, that's impossible to have a dirty core with a public cloud solution. But that clean core across the customer's portfolio and leaning into those best practices, that really creates an opportunity to offer sometimes a little teaspoon of sugar with the medicine of a best practice that needs to go down. What have you seen really work well there?
Yeah, I think, first of all, my team is always leading with industry best practice. I like to say that we developed 24, it's maybe more than 24 now, industry standard best practices for procurement and supply chain that we lead with and tell customers, this is what you should do for refurbishment or subcontracting or user-driven spend. And we like to share those with customers. So that's something that they should be aware of. Like, we've produced that and we want to share that with everyone. But we know that customers they're going to have to extend or even customize in certain cases. And I lean on some of my mentors who have been in the industry a long time. they give me really 3 guidance points on when you should extend or customize. Okay. And I'll add in a fourth, my own flavor. One is tax, right? Tax reasons are going to drive behavior, and you just naturally you have to be able to extend or to manage different tax regulations and so on.
Yeah.
Regulatory, another fun one, right? So many regulatory changes, we just have to be aware of that. And then the third is legal. So Lisa Gonzalez-Smith used to always tell me, those are the 3 things that she'll let her team say, we need to customize or extend. And the fourth one I see is really just like, what is your secret sauce as a company, as an organization? There's certain things you don't want to change about the DNA of your company, and we don't want to inhibit that. So use
Yeah.
BTP or our partner system to do that.
That's awesome. And I think that secret sauce is often enabled through, and we've seen this through intake and orchestration as a toolkit to be able to go help do this. What are some of those, without giving away anyone's secret sauce, what are some of those where to start or first use cases that you're seeing people be really successful with in that intake orchestration or bringing the data and workflow and integration connectivity in together to really knock it out of the park?
Yeah, I think the worlds of procurement, the different domains are often when they're combined, we have this concept of supplier risk-aware procurement, right? So
Mhm.
whether I'm purchasing or sourcing or, even approving an invoice, I need to be aware of the risks of that supplier. So I
Yeah.
think some of the early use cases around intake are really important because, as you know, the relationship with your supplier is not linear, right? At different points, you have different things that may happen. You have a payment block, you have a risk, you have an issue, an audit issue that you have to go rectify, a performance issue. So I think intake can really help because we know that not everything is a registration, not everything is a qualification form or a modular questionnaire. Sometimes we need help, and the user doesn't always know where to start or where to go when they run into this issue. So I love that companies can now, just through a chat bot or through a search engine, find out what's the right where to go or what's the right place to go, whether it's a form or a chat bot. I really like that because if they go looking for something and they don't find it, that's a frustrating user experience.
Yeah, and it's frustrating, but it also amplifies the risk because if you can't find what you're looking for, if it's not fast, easy, smooth flow, then it means that you're more apt to cut that step or cut that corner or skip that check. And I think there's all kinds of examples of where picking the ultimate lowest cost supplier or maybe skipping some of the supplier due diligence have ended up in catastrophic results. So making it
100%.
making it way easier to do it the right way than it is to go around it is one of the things that I see as a secret sauce. Justin, the other thought that I had was that from years of experience in all the organizations you've helped, there's got to be a few sort of not best kept secrets, but top tips or things that we sometimes imagine it's obvious, but it bears repeating or would really help serve this audience of things that you would like them to know about, you wish more people understood better. What would you want to leave people with that would help them?
Great question. This is one that I obviously share a lot of passion for, being in this space for a number of years. If you think about SAP's entire portfolio, intelligent spend is really the second biggest solution area behind cloud ERP in terms of investments, in terms of dollars. It is a giant business on its own. And when you couple it with the ERP, I think some companies tend to look at it as, I have what's in the ERP or I have what sits in the intelligent spend business. We see it as a complement, and right in that, and especially our partners can help us connect those worlds in very delicate, intricate ways. So the first one is that, we are a very successful solution area within SAP. The other thing that I think sometimes, gets talked about, but doesn't really connect with our customer base or even sometimes our internal SAP teams is that, we're moving around $6 trillion in annual spend over our business network. $6 trillion, right? So just think about how much commerce is going over our system. So if there's ever any call of question about the validity of what we're doing or what we're building together, Sean, that number to me just stands out as, wow. Think about how much of the world's commerce is going through a trusted built platform that we take part in every single
Massive.
day. It's massive. And the other thing is, and I already talked about it a little bit, is we, through hundreds or thousands of customer interactions, we've really pressed on what's the best user experience or what's the best industry best practice that you can use, right? And I think a lot of customers are asking for that. That's publicly available. We publish that. We make that available to customers to see. So when they come in and say, hey, this seems like something I can't implement, or we're just not we're not set up to be able to manage that type of a system, I can say, look, it's, I don't know, cookie cutter. Here you go. Go
Yeah.
deploy it. So it's a lot simpler than people sometimes give it credit for. And that's what I'm excited to share with the audience here.
Yeah, I think simple is the name of the game, and creating the time, space, and experiences for especially those occasional users that don't need to buy something very often. They're not, dealing with POs every day. And in a sense, that's the largest number of customers out there. And going and, I think we were talking the other day about this vision of like making it so easy for all of them that it's almost like it's seamless. It just flows. It's easy. That to me is one of those ways to go and help more people. I love that. Anything last thoughts that you would want to leave the team with or leave the audience with as we land the plane today?
Well, I love what you just said there. I just would love a chance to talk a little bit about what you just mentioned. A lot of times when we get into a discussion, there's so much focus on procurement or AP, and rightly so, right? Because they're going to be our power users. We need to make them happy.
Yeah.
But I think what we're trying to do, Sean, us collectively at SAP and Conversion IS, is we're trying to make that experience with those infrequent users as painless and as seamless as possible. But procurement gets that policy adherence. They get that forced compliance, right? Like
Yeah.
freedom without choice is what I always tell people.
Yeah.
Freedom without choice. So I really love the fact that we're putting so much emphasis on this customer base and this user base. I think it's going to be really exciting, especially for procurement.
Yeah. I mean, we recently released Rio, and the idea is that's Spanish for and Portuguese for river. So you want that water to flow right downhill. Just make it really, really easy, and off we go. Justin,
And
thank you so much for joining today. Grateful for your time, and I hope this serves a whole bunch of folks. This has been another edition of The Never Ending Climb for stronger supply chain and procurement for companies running SAP. Thanks, everyone.